First, we're gonna talk about where did each color come from. Colors occupied a unique place in the average person worldwide. On the other hand, color is intrinsically subjective. We all experience different emotion when we look at various colors, but on the other hand, color is inherently tied to physics and mathematics. Every color occupied a specific numerical wavelength. We also have a third, less commonly noted, method to define color which sits somewhere between the other two. We can also define color through the lens of history. As we explore different color, we will discover that they are tightly bound into human history. Let's be talk about how we define colors. Before we examine specific examples, we should first take a moment to consider how language impacts our view of color. Pause for a second to think about your favorite color. There are probably something about it which just speaks to your soul. But now think about similar colors. Can you imagine not being able to differentiate between those colors and your favorite? For example, imagine someone who loves the color blue. He finds it hard to imagine a world where he could not recognize it. But think about it. How the open water sometimes have either a blue or green tint. The two colors extremely similar in many ways. If you only saw blue on rare occasions, you might just consider it to be a specific shade of green. And in fact, we know this happens thanks to a tribe which has no word for blue. The tribe simply sees blue as a variation of green. Place the color blue next to shades of green and they have a hard time spotting it as the item which stand out from the rest. The specific example highlight that our ability to work with color is often shaped by language and culture tradition. If people don't talk about a color, then we will often simply see it as a variation of something similar. Let's take a look back in the time and find out when and where each color was discovered. Blue. Blue is one of the most well documented color in history. We can debate which culture were the first to work with a wide variety of different colors. However, we can be quite certain which culture identified and worked with the color blue for the first time. This also highlights why we need to consider the relationship between language, culture, and history when talk about color. Our concept of blue was created about 6000 years ago. In ancient Egypt, if you look at the works of ancient colors, you will notice a similar quirk in most of them. Almost no ancient culture talk about the color blue. The cultures of the ancient world saw blue as a variation on other colors. The main reason for the lack of distinction is probably due to how little change they have to see example of blue in their daily life. Blue is simple does not occur very often in the natural world when compared to other color. Of course, we have the sky, but it's a single example among million of other sights in our average day. However, ancient Egypt had the means to produce blue dye by mining a semi-precious stone called lapis lazuli. This means that they also had the ability to fill their world with the color blue. They could dye the statues, clothing, and even their face with blue pigment. This also means that their culture needed to develop ways to talk about variation with this pigment. It's here that we really see the birth of humanity concept of blue as a singular color. Green. We know that green was used in clothing as far back as ancient Mesopotamia. This period stretches 10,000 years in the past. Ancient Mesopotamia is widely considered to be the foundation of human civilization, and the ancient Mesopotamians most certainly appreciated the colors green. We even see their appreciation of the color immortalized in surviving ceramic. The artwork shows people adorned in a variety of green costumes. We also see green used in the artwork of ancient Egypt, Greece, and Rome. Red. An argument can be made that red is the most oldest color in human history. In fact, we have evidence of it in the period of time which predated written history. Our earliest examples of the color red come from cave painting which date back to 16,500 BC. The prehistoric artists created their painting from ground red ochre. It's not just a common color from that time either. Red was one of the only colors used in the Paleolithic era. This is due to the fact that red ochre was easily created from natural resources. Egypt is also notable for their love of red ochre. Men and women alike would often use lipstick made of this substance. However, Cleopatra took it to the next level. She was well known for her use of expensive blue dye as a form of makeup, but she also had her own unique type of lipstick made from a wide variety of different substances. However, even she used a little red ochre within it for color. Yellow. Use of yellow dyes like red dates back into prehistory. We have seen yellow used in cave painting which are at least 17,000 years old. Amazingly enough, this may exist as an unbroken chain into the modern era. Ancient cave paintings were made using yellow ochre as the dyeing agent. This substance was widely used by most modern culture until the 1920s, when artificially created pigments proves more financially viable. Orange. Today, the color orange often evokes memories of Halloween. However, it has a history which predates that holiday by a considerable margin. Some of the oldest examples of orange date back once again to ancient Egypt. Europeans would not have known what to make of the color. Until the 16th century, Europeans simply knew it as a variant of red. In fact, they simply called the shade yellow red. Orange was not recognized as a distinct color by English speakers until orange trees were imported from Asia. Purple. The history of purple dates back to the Bronze Age. Around the 14th century BCE, the city of Tyre began producing a distinctly beautiful dye. Tyrians would create this dye from a few different shellfish found in the region. But even a small quantity of purple dye would call for thousands of shellfish to use as an ingredient. It said that 10,000 shellfish were needed to make even 1 gram of purple dye. At one point, we have historical records showing that the dye was valued at 3 times its weight in gold, and pre-dyed wool was priced at about the same as its equivalent weight in gold. This means the purple dyed wool was quite literally worth its weight in gold.